Just like we can combine polynomials, we can combine different functions together. So very quickly, I'm going to go through each one of these in kind of order. So we're going to start with the addition and then make our way down to division. Okay? But in case you're wondering, this is one way of notating it. The other way of notating it is separately. Okay? So you can either write it as f plus g of x, but you could also write it as f of x plus g of x. Okay? Both of those mean exactly the same thing. The reason why we're showing you this first one is because this is what you're going to see, and it's the most common notation that's used in mathematical texts. Okay, so you're going to continue to see this type of notation throughout the rest of your mathematical careers, basically. So, above I've got our given functions in purple. We're going to use those functions to create some new ones with our operators. So for the first one, we've got a plus c of x. So it will help if I know what a of x is. It will help if I know what c of x is. Well, a of x is this 2x minus 3. C of x is this negative x. So I'm going to take these two functions and I'm going to add them together. So I end up with 2x minus 3 plus a negative x. Now that I have that plus sign in there, I can combine any like terms to create a brand new function. So, got a 2x here, got a negative x there. I just need to subtract one of those. So 2 minus 1, that gives me x. Nothing happened to the negative 3. So we end up with just x minus 3 as our brand new function. That is a plus c of x. Similarly, if we wanted to subtract, here's the common notation f minus g of x. We could also rewrite this though as f of x minus g of x. Okay, so once again, this is the common notation, but you can write it like this as well. So let's find b minus c of x. Okay, well, what is b of x? B of x is this 5x squared. C of x is that negative x. So we got to combine these two functions. So we got 5x squared minus a negative x. Now, a reminder, negative and negative become a positive. So I just get to add that x in. And I end up with 5x squared plus x. I can't simplify that any further, so this is my brand new function, b minus c of x. Okay, got two other types of functions that I gotta do. The first one is when we multiply our functions together. So f times g of x is the same thing as doing f of x times g of x. In other words, you can just take whatever those two functions are and just multiply them together. So let's put this to practice. Let's find a of x and d of x and multiply those two functions together. So a of x is 2x minus 3. D of x is 2x squared plus 1. So I got to multiply these two functions together. So 2x minus 3 is getting multiplied to 2x squared plus 1. Okay, look at how it's set up. We're going to need to do some distributive property here in order for us to simplify our expression. So let's start with our 2 of x. Let's multiply it to our 2x squared. That will give us 4x to the third power. Now let's take our 2x, multiply it to 1. That gives us 2x. Now let's take our negative 3 and multiply it to our 2x squared. When I multiply those, I end up with negative 6x squared. Lastly, I'm going to take the negative 3 and multiply it to the 1, and we get negative 3. Now, you could say you're done, but I don't like the order in which this got written, so I'm just going to rewrite it really fast so that I have from highest exponent to lowest exponent. So we end up with 4x cubed minus 6x squared plus 2x minus 3. And we will just leave it like that. We're not going to factor it, we're going to just leave it. So it's the same thing with our division. So we'll have f divided g of x. We can also rewrite this as f of x divided by g of x. So we're going to use the functions b and c for this. So let's remind ourselves, b of x is 5x squared, c of x is a negative x. So we'll put this function in the numerator, this function in the denominator. So we have 5x squared divided by a negative x. Now looking at this, we can simplify this. So one of the x's can go away. So that will go away and this becomes a 1. So we end up with a negative 5x as our simplified function.